Hello friends, imagine a world where a cyberman more dangerous than any serial killer watches your every move and uses your secrets against you to oppress you. A serial killer who knows no bounds. He not only crosses but also earns money by showing the sight of all this brutality to people. Isn't it a heart-wrenching story? Let's dive deep into the story. So the story begins. We see a boy named Colin who was cleaning the dust from Colin in an office. Then he got a call from a man. That man knew about some of Colin's black deeds. That's why he threatened Colin that if you don't reach my location in 15 minutes, then I will leak all your black deeds photos online. As soon as he heard this, Colin left to meet that man. But in the middle of the road, he saw a car which also had a body lying next to it. Colin called the emergency service. He also started looking in the car that no other person is injured in the car. Then that body stood like an undertaker. And by dropping Colin from behind, the next morning, the crime officer John Luther reached that location. He saw that there was a girl's body there, and the one who called the police at night means Colin was missing from there. Now he started talking to his senior Martin. Then a lady, who was Colin's mother Corin, came to ask for help. She said, "Please find my son as soon as possible." Our Luther sir also promised her in the air that he will find her son very easily. Here in the public, this cap uncle, whose name is David, was listening to everything. After that, David left from there and started talking to someone on the phone and started saying that a crooked officer has entered this case, which we will have to do somehow to get rid of this case. So find out about all the black deeds of Luther and leak the information to the media. Within a few days, some of Luther's black deeds, which he had done to catch the criminals, were leaked online, after which he was put in a high-security jail. In that jail, everyone was thirsty for Luther's blood, because Luther had got those prisoners punished. One day Luther was bathing, so the rest of the prisoners came and washed him too. A few days later, Corin got a call from her missing son, Colin, in which Colin called her to a location crying. When she reached that location, there was a grand house there. She went inside and saw that there was no one there. Along with that, other people were also coming outside the house. Now Corin reached a place in the basement, where the corpses were hanging like a suit in the market, and their phones were also kept under them. Here, along with Colin, there were also the corpses of those people's children who had come there. Then there was a sudden fire there, and all the corpses started burning there. Seeing this, all the parents came out. DCI Rain also got the news of this incident, who was appointed to Luther's position. Along with Rain, his assistant Max was also there. Luther was also aware of this incident in the jail, and then he got a letter, in which a frequency of the radio was written. When Luther matched that frequency with the radio, there was a recording of Colin and the rest of the children before they died, who were screaming for help. He was listening to this clip. In the meantime, Colin's mother Corin came to meet him. She didn't come to meet him. On the contrary, she came to tell him that this was your airy promise. This is how you save my son. After saying all this, she left there. When she went back to the car, we found out that David had now become her friend as Tommy. David himself had instigated her to tell Luther, so that Corin could feel light. Luther also had a phone in the jail. He called the newly appointed DCI Rain, and started telling that he can help her in this murder case. But as a woman, Rain told him that she doesn't need any criminal to solve any case. Then Luther called his friend Dennis, to get him out of here somehow. They were talking on that night. The police came and snatched Luther's phone. Now Luther told one of his officer friends, "Get me attacked somehow, so that these people take me somewhere else from here." That evening, a prisoner was going to commit suicide when the police stopped him, but he beat the police also, and after freeing all the prisoners from the cell, he started going to Luther's cell to kill him, where he put petrol and set it on fire. But Luther counterattacked him with the help of his mattress, and started fighting with him. A lot of police also came there in the middle of their fight. Luther deliberately increased the ruckus, and for this reason, Luther was now ordered to be transferred to another jail. When they were taking him to another jail, then some terrorists attacked the police car in the middle of the road, and took Luther with them. That terrorist was none other than Dennis. On the other side, David came to meet a woman. This woman was his wife, whose face was completely burnt. How it burned, we will know later. David threatened her that if you tell anyone my truth, then he will kill her son and daughter. Here Luther came near his car, and changed his clothes, and went in search of that psycho killer. Rain also got the news that Luther has escaped from the jail. First of all, Luther tracked the frequency found in the jail, and reached its location. That location was of a tattoo shop, where the tattoo artist started running away after seeing Luther. Luther caught that artist, and sat him on the hot seat, and started asking about his recording. That artist said that someone asked me to send signals. When Luther asked his name, that artist said that I don't know, but that man always calls on his phone, and he was going to meet him this evening. On the other side, David was talking to his partner Pablo on the phone. Pablo bought some girls on his request. David was going to get those girls killed in the Red Room for some rich people online. And now you can see David's team, which was full of hackers. All those hackers used to keep an eye on people all over the world, with their online equipment, and used to blackmail them by taking out their black deeds. Luther went to the market at night, where the police was also after him. He called David from the artist's phone in the middle of everyone. David picked up the phone. That Luther saw him, and ran to catch him. Then David caught a man. The police was also coming here. But then from the building above, many people started giving their lives, because of which there was chaos on the road. Then another man fell near him, and in the chaos, David ran away from there. Luther also started following him, and saw that David was running on the metro tracks. He followed him and reached a closed station, where David attacked Luther. Both were fighting. That's when an officer came there. David attacked that officer with a knife, and ran away from there. Luther thought it was right to help this officer, and when the other officer came, both together stopped the injured officer's blood. That officer then drove Luther away from there. Now David started getting angry at Rain's assistant Max. Why didn't you tell me about the police coming? Then we found out that Max is David's informant. Max told that the police had come to catch Luther. David started laughing, and then he called Pablo, and said, start the game at my secret place. Now we will know what game it is. Here Rain called his daughter Rhea, and told her that she will be late to come home today. Rhea went to drink water. Then she felt like someone else was at home. That's when David attacked her, and took her with him. Here Luther came to meet Colin, and told her that I had caught the killer today, but he escaped. Then he asked, did you make a new friend after Colin's death? Corin replied that yes. A man named Tommy has become my friend from the support group. He also instigated Corin to go to jail and vent all his anger on Luther. That's when Corin remembered. He didn't even tell Tommy that Luther was in charge of his son's case. She understood that her new friend was hiding something. Actually, David had become Corin's friend by becoming Tommy. Luther asked her for his address. Here Rain was busy with work. That's when she got a video, in which Rhea was screaming. She called the same number, so she talked to David. David said that if you want to see Rhea alive, then catch Luther and hand him over to me. Then Rain called Luther and said that I have found out about that man. Now both of us can work on this case together. Luther and Rain met, where Rain told that the man's name is Michael, and in the past his wife was going to leave him, but she was injured before she left. There was also a case of fire on David, but it was never proved. It means that David had burned his wife. He also said that now he has kidnapped my daughter Rhea, so please save my daughter somehow. Now they both reached David's address, where he talked to David's wife. Rain said that David has kidnapped many other girls along with his daughter. His wife got emotional, and said something in Rain's ear. After coming out, Luther called Martin and told him some work. Now we will know that work later. Luther and Rain left from there. Here David got to know that Corin has given his address to Luther, so he told Max that you go to my house and finish my wife's work. Max went to kill that woman, but there Martin was already ready with his team, because Luther called Martin and told him this work. They were going to arrest him. Before that, Max took an injection in his neck. Here Luther and Rain left to reach a location in Iceland. When that way was over, they started crossing the rest of the way on foot. That way brought them out of a magnificent palace. When they both reached inside, many girls' corpses were hanging there. In these corpses, Rhea's corpse was also hanging. Rain started crying as soon as she saw her, and sent Luther out. Luther started roaming in the palace. Then Rain felt that this is not her daughter. In fact, her daughter's clothes were worn on this corpse. Then Pablo came there and packed Rain's neck like a bag. And here David also hit Luther's head with a stick and made him unconscious. When Luther woke up, David washed his face with his soap. People were watching Luther's torture live, because this was David's job, kidnapping people and torturing them live. And these rich people paid a lot of money to see this torture. David started torturing Luther. Then Rain was also brought there, on whose face there was something like a piece of cloth. As soon as the cloth was removed, the shutter was also raised, where Rhea was tied up. Pablo started wrapping Rhea like a gift here. Rain asked him to stop. Then David said that he will stop, but for that, you will have to stab Luther in the stomach. Luther also became a hero and said, yes, Rain, stab me. Rain did not understand anything and he stabbed Luther. Seeing this torture, these rich people had orgasm. Now the pot was turned upside down and Rain was tied up in a chair. And this time he told Luther to prick Rain's knees with a hammer. Luther refused. So Rhea's gift wrapping started again. This time he put his mind to it and said, the people who are watching this, the police are going to track everyone's IP address and reach their homes. As soon as they heard this, these rich people were shocked. They all turned off their laptops and went offline. Seeing this, David started getting angry that all his customers were chased by Luther. Now the game was turning towards Luther. So David locked the gate with a remote and started running from there. Behind him, Luther also quickly left the gate and the gate was closed. As soon as the gate was closed, it started raining petrol in the room. And these two mother and daughter started fighting with Pablo. Here Luther was following David, and while following, he got into his car. Both of them had a fight in the car, and David drowned that car in the water. Now both of them started fighting in the water, where Luther snatched the remote and opened the gate. David got stuck there among the corpses, because he had killed a lot of people there in the game of his death. David drowned there and died, and the police arrived here who saved Luther. Now everyone thanked Luther, and the police officer arrested him and took him in the plane, where he fainted. When his eyes opened, he was in a room, where Martin said that you will not be a police officer anymore. And then a lot of people came in a black suit. Luther met a chief downstairs who praised Luther a lot, and we understood that in all the parts of the Luther movie, Luther will definitely become an agent. With this, the movie ends.